Breaking news, guys. Breaking news, man. Lil Jon's son is missing. I got the news from my girl, Reality TV, who is from Georgia, by way of Texas.
Lil Jon's son walked out of his house one morning with no phone, no shoes, and hasn't been seen since. But what's sending chills down everyone's spine right now is footage that just went viral. This video posted by Lil Jon's rivals may have been a disturbing message to his father. The vanishing, a father's worst nightmare. On the morning of February 3rd, 2026, at approximately 6 a.m., a 27-year-old man walked out of his home in Milton, Georgia, a quiet, affluent suburb roughly 30 miles north of downtown Atlanta, without his cell phone, without personal belongings, and in what authorities would later describe as a potentially disoriented state. He did not take a car. He did not leave a note. He simply stepped out the front door, turned toward the intersection of Baldwin Drive and Mayfield Road, and disappeared into the early morning darkness. His name is Nathan Murray Smith, and the world knows him by his stage name, DJ Young Slade. He is the son of Jonathan Smith, the Grammy-winning multi-platinum producer, rapper, and cultural force known globally as Lil Jon. Within hours, the Milton Police Department issued a formal missing persons alert, distributing Nathan's photograph and physical description across their social media channels and regional law enforcement networks. The alert emphasized a critical detail that separated this case from a routine adult disappearance. The 27-year-old may be disoriented and could be in need of assistance. He did not have his phone, meaning he could not call anyone and no one could reach him. He had no wallet, no identification, no means of communication whatsoever. Authorities stressed there were no threats to the public, but they urged anyone who encountered him to contact police immediately for a welfare check rather than attempt direct confrontation. Fox 5. Atlanta was among the first local outlets to broadcast the alert, noting that Nathan was last seen near Baldwin Drive in Milton. WSB-TV followed with video coverage, broadcasting the missing person details alongside concern for his safety. Within 24 hours, the story had exploded far beyond local Georgia news. NBC News ran a national report detailing the circumstances. People magazine published the family's request for privacy and prayers, including a photograph of Lil Jon and his son from 2016, underscoring the close bond between father and child. USA Today reported that family representatives had issued a statement asking for prayers and privacy during what they called an unimaginably difficult time. Bet covered the story with emphasis on the family's anguish and police concern about his disoriented state. The Hollywood Reporter noted that Lil Jon was estranged from Nathan's mother, Nicole Smith, adding another layer of complexity to an already harrowing situation. The news triggered an immediate wave of reaction across social media and YouTube commentary channels. On Boss Talk TV, the host broke the story to their audience with visible emotion.
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news, man. Lil Jon's son is missing. I got the news from my girl, Reality TV, who is from Georgia, by way of Texas.
Their co-host Reality TV provided early details about the circumstances, relaying what was circulating across Georgia media.
Yeah, it seems that maybe he was, I'm not gonna say, I don't know if he was under the influence of a drug or whatever, but he ran out of the house barefoot with no phone or nothing.
The hosts of Boss Talk TV immediately urged their viewers to help spread awareness. They read directly from the official reports, confirming the core facts. The hosts then relayed TMZ's parallel reporting, which had amplified the story nationally.
So Lil Jon is dealing with a scary situation right now, TMZ said. His son, DJ Young Slade, has been reported missing in Georgia. The same thing, the Milton Police Department put out a missing persons alert Tuesday saying 28-year-old Slade, legal name Nathan Murray Smith, ran out of his home on foot and hasn't been seen since. And he doesn't have a phone. He may be disoriented and he could be in need of help.
One particularly alarming detail emerged during the Boss Talk TV broadcast. Local outlet Rough Draft Atlanta was reporting an active police matter unfolding in Mayfield Park in Milton, the area near where Nathan was last seen. To understand the weight of this disappearance, you need to understand who Nathan Murray Smith actually is. Not just as Lil Jon's son, but as his own person. Born in 1998, Nathan grew up immersed in From the Womb. Lil Jon has shared stories of Nathan kicking during studio sessions while his mother was still pregnant with him. His mother was a dancer, and his father was building the crunk empire that would define a generation of Southern hip-hop. Nathan contributed vocals to Lil Jon and the East Side Boys' 2001 single BAB as a toddler, a fact that becomes surreal when you consider the trajectory of his career since. He began producing beats in high school, trained formally at the Scratch DJ Academy, and attended New York University. He built his craft methodically, working as a DJ, producer, engineer, and eventually an artist in his own right under the name DJ Young Slade. His recent career trajectory showed genuine momentum. He collaborated with his father on Lil Jon's 2024 guided meditation and hip-hop album, Total Meditation. He and Lil Jon produced tracks together for Too Short's upcoming farewell album. He released a single titled Feels in March 2025, promoted actively on his Instagram, Ailade. He appeared on MTV's Family Legacy series, discussing the pivotal moment watching his father's DJ set that cemented his own path. He performed at festivals like One Fest in Atlanta in 2025. He worked with artists like Jim Jones and maintained active ties across Atlanta scene. He appeared alongside his father on Celebrity Family Feud. By every measure, he was a young man building something real, independently producing, recording, and mixing his own material. On Boss Talk TV, the emotional weight of the situation was palpable. The host reflected on what it means to be a parent receiving this kind of news. And on the same show earlier in the episode before the breaking news, DJ Young Slade himself had appeared in a previously recorded interview segment discussing what it was like to grow up as Lil Jon's son. That clip, Nathan describing his father as just dad, the man who drinks tea and watches movies at home, juxtaposed against a missing persons alert issued hours later by the Milton Police Department, is the kind of contrast that stops you cold. This is not a celebrity gossip cycle. This is a family in crisis. As of February 5th, 2026, there are no public updates indicating that Nathan Murray Smith has been located. Searches of nearby areas, including Mayfield Lake, were ongoing. Lil Jon has not publicly spoken beyond the family's request for prayers and privacy. The Boss Talk TV host captured the impossibility of that silence perfectly. The host then articulated the raw, visceral terror of the situation from a parent's perspective. The agony of knowing your child is out there unreachable and you are powerless to do anything. The conversation turned to the frustration of being gouged for information you do not possess. Reality TV offered a broader perspective, pointing out that the prayers should extend beyond just one celebrity's family.
Praying for not just Lil Jon missing person, but
All of them.
missing people, because I know that he's a celebrity and they get, bigger publicity and all that, but prayers for everybody that's looking for a missing person.
Old enemies, new wounds, the beefs that never die. Now, the title of this video references Lil Jon's ops, a word that in hip-hop culture refers to opposition, enemies, rivals. To understand why that word is relevant here, we need to examine the history of conflict surrounding Lil Jon. Even though there is absolutely zero evidence connecting any of these rivalries to Nathan's disappearance, extensive searches across news sources, social media, and hip-hop coverage show no references to any beefs, rivalries, or incidents involving DJ Young Slade personally. This situation is being treated primarily as a welfare and mental health concern rather than a criminal investigation. But the chilling footage that has surfaced, the previously recorded interview of Nathan talking about his father now circulating alongside missing person alerts lands differently when you understand that Lil Jon has spent decades navigating an industry where rivalries can follow families for generations. Jonathan Smith. Lil Jon emerged from Atlanta's late 1990s and early 2000s crunk scene as its loudest, most dominant force. As the frontman of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, he produced and performed anthems that defined an era. Get Low, BIA, Throw It Up, his signature ad-libs, yeah. Okay. What became cultural fixtures parodied by Dave Chappelle and recognized worldwide. He went on to produce Turn On for What with DJ Snake, won a Grammy, worked across genres from EDM to country, and maintained relevance for over 2 decades. But that kind of dominance in Atlanta's competitive southern rap scene did not come without friction. The most significant documented beef in Lil Jon's career involves Pastor Troy, real name Micah LeVar Troy, a fellow Atlanta rapper who built a devoted following through aggressive independent southern rap. The two collaborated on Throw It Up, a track from Lil Jon and the East Side Boys' 2002 album Kings of Crunk. That song became Pastor Troy's biggest mainstream exposure, a crunk anthem that put him in front of a national audience. But the aftermath of that collaboration planted seeds of resentment that would fester for years. Pastor Troy has spoken in interviews, notably a 2021 Vlad TV appearance, about his frustration with how the collaboration played out. No official video was ever shot for Throw It Up, a decision Pastor Troy blamed on label politics. No further collaborations followed. Pastor Troy described feeling excluded from Lil J's expanding empire, not invited back for more work, not given the platform that the song's success should have warranted. He claimed Lil Jon asked for a verse at one point, but that the exchange did not lead to mutual respect or new opportunities. In a 2022 Revolt TV appearance, Troy reflected on these frustrations in the broader context of Atlanta's crunk scene dynamics. That resentment boiled over in 2006 when Pastor Troy released Murder Man 2 on his album By Choice or By Force, a direct diss track targeting Lil Jon, his BME, Black Market Entertainment label, and affiliates including Lil Scrappy and Crime Mob. The lyrics were explicit and aggressive, calling out Lil Jon and his entire crew by name, venting years of perceived disrespect and exclusion. The track represented Pastor Troy's primary outlet for the beef, his main opportunity to put his grievances on wax. It circulated in Atlanta's underground and among Southern rap fans. But it never sparked a response from Lil J. That silence was itself a statement. Lil J did not engage. He did not record a response. He simply continued building his career, while Pastor Troy's frustrations remained largely one-sided. But Lil J's rivalry landscape extended beyond Pastor Troy. His relationship with the Yin Yang twins, the duo behind crunk smashes like Get Low and Salt Shaker, became strained over creative control, credit, and business dealings. The twins discussed in podcasts and interviews how Lil Jon initially did not even like Get Low and pushed back on certain ideas. They claimed the song's massive success generated significant revenue from which they felt undervalued and restricted. It was more of a professional fracture than outright hostility, but the tension was real and documented across multiple interview appearances. Lil Jon and the East Side Boys themselves split after their 2004 album Crunk Juice due to internal money issues, legal drama, and conflicts within the group. The breakup allowed Lil J to go solo and maintain prominence, while the East Side Boys faded from public view, a business dissolution that left lasting tension between former collaborators. Dem franchise boys accused Lil Jon of heavily influencing or appropriating their sound during the Crunk to Snap transition era, adding another layer of competitive friction within Atlanta's scene. And there were peripheral tensions involving Lil Scrappy's sign to Lil J's BME label, where 50 Cent reportedly pressured Lil Jon over Scrappy's affiliation, and Scrappy eventually departed the label amid unresolved issues. Through all of this, Lil J's approach was remarkably consistent. He stayed above the fray. He rarely addressed beef publicly. He did not record diss tracks. He positioned himself as a legacy figure in crunk, focusing on production, collaborations, and eventually his dramatic personal transformation. In recent years, particularly from 2024 through 2025, Lil Jon openly discussed his journey toward mental and physical health. He acknowledged past heavy drinking directly tied to his crunk party persona and revealed that he cut back significantly after health scares involving his liver around age 50. He underwent EMDR therapy, started meditating, adopted an intense fitness regimen, and even competed in the 2025 Muscle Beach Championship. He credited this shift to wanting to be healthier for his family, specifically mentioning his young daughter, born in 2024, and his older son, Nathan. He described overcoming what he called suffering in silence, a pattern he recognized as common among men, and became an outspoken advocate for self-care and wellness. That personal evolution makes the current crisis all the more devastating. Here is a man who spent the last 2 years publicly rebuilding his life around family and health, only to face the nightmare of his 27-year-old son vanishing without a trace. His previous marriage to Nicole Smith, Nathan's mother, ended in an arrangement that added complexity to an already fractured family dynamic. But by all public accounts, Lil Jon and Nathan maintained a close relationship. They collaborated on. They appeared together on television. Nathan spoke glowingly about his father in interviews, describing him as the tear-inking, movie-watching dad behind the bombastic stage persona. The Boss Talk TV host channeled the agony of Lil Jon's situation, the impossibility of keeping it together when your child is missing.
And I think that's just a scary situation when you sitting there trying to figure, you don't know. He didn't take his phone. He might have had on shoes, might have didn't have on shoes. He don't have no personal items. That's the weirdest thing right there, because now you got me worried. Now I'm worried about you because I don't know what the hell going on. What happened to my damn son is what I'm asking at that point. So, I mean, I just pray for Lil Jon, and I pray for the mother of the boy too, because she going through it. It ain't just Lil Jon because he got a name. It's family, brothers and sisters. Everybody is on high alert when somebody missing.
As a relatively low-profile DJ and producer compared to his father's fame, Nathan has never been linked to any public feuds, industry drama, or personal conflicts. His Instagram activity prior to his disappearance showed family appearances, promotion, and positive career updates. But the history of hip-hop tells us that when you carry a famous last name, your father's enemies become your burden, whether you ask for it or not. And that brings us to the darkest chapter of the story. When the children pay the price, hip-hop's darkest pattern. What makes the footage of Nathan talking about his father so chilling, so deeply unsettling to anyone who watches it now in the context of his disappearance, is that it exists within a broader documented pattern in hip-hop where the children of famous rappers become collateral damage in beefs they had no part in creating. Nathan Murray Smith has no known enemies. He has no beef. He has no rivalries. His disappearance, by every official account, is a welfare and mental health crisis rather than a criminal matter. But the very fact that his name trended alongside the word ops, that footage of him speaking warmly about his father is being described as chilling, reflects a culture where we have been conditioned to expect the worst when a rapper's child makes headlines. That conditioning exists because the worst has happened repeatedly. Consider the most prominent recent example, the 2025 escalation between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. A feud that had been smoldering since 2017, but erupted into something genuinely disturbing when both women began targeting each other's children. Nicki Minaj, real name Anukika Tanya Mirage Petty, the Trinidadian-American rapper who had built an empire through albums like Pink Friday and maintained her status as one of the most successful female rappers in history, posted insults on social media, calling Cardi B's daughter Culture ugly, referring to her as culture vulture and monkey, and threatening physical violence against a child. She extended similar attacks to Cardi's younger daughter, Blossom. Cardi B, real name Belcalis Marlanis Almanzar, the Bronxorn rapper who broke through with Bodak Yellow, retaliated by mocking Nicki's son, publicly known as Papa Bear, as slow and nonverbal, alleging that substance use during pregnancy caused developmental issues and making dark jokes about the child's birthday. Both women issued what amounted to backhanded apologies, Nicki specifically, to Culture, while continuing the attacks. The exchange drew widespread condemnation for dragging innocent children into adult warfare. The Drake-Kendrick Lamar feud of 2024 represented perhaps the most sophisticated and devastating deployment of family targeting in modern rap history. Drake's Family Matters alleged that one of Kendrick Lamar's children was fathered by his creative partner Dave, free attacking the foundation of Kendrick's family and relationship with fiancée Whitney Alford, while also claiming domestic abuse in their household. Kendrick's response, Meet the Grams, addressed Drake's family members individually, including his young son, Adonis, to whom Kendrick said directly, "I'm sorry that man is your father." The track also alleged the existence of a secret 11-year-old daughter Drake had never publicly acknowledged. Drake denied that claim, but the damage was done. These were not vague references or coded subliminals. These were direct, named attacks on children who had zero involvement in their father's creative or personal rivalry. children weaponized as instruments of humiliation. The precedent for this had been set years earlier in 2018 when Pusha T released the story of Adon, a diss track that revealed the existence of Drake's then hidden son, Adonis, to the entire world. The track accused Drake of being a deadbeat father and featured artwork depicting Drake in blackface. The lyrics urged Adonis to come home, publicly exposing a child's existence as a weapon in a rap beef. That single track forced Drake to publicly acknowledge his son for the first time. A deeply personal family moment hijacked and detonated on a global stage for competitive advantage. It set the template that Kendrick would later follow and expand upon. Before all of this, Eminem had established the original line in the sand regarding children in rap beefs and watched multiple rivals cross it. Anyway, Ja Rule in his 2003 track Loose Change rapped negatively about Eminem's daughter Haley Jade, speculating about her future in connection to her father's chaotic public life. Eminem's response was devastating. Tracks like Haley's Revenge and Go to Sleep that accelerated Ja Rule's already declining career into irrelevance. Machine Gun Kelly's involvement began in 2012 with a social media post calling the then teenage Haley attractive in explicitly inappropriate language. That comment simmered for years before erupting in 2018 with MGK's Rap Devil and Eminem's Lethal Killshot response. Everlast, the House of Pain frontman, had dissed Haley in an early 2000s remix verse, prompting Eminem to respond on Twitter and effectively end Everlast's relevance in rap entirely. The pattern was clear. Mention Eminem's daughter and your career pays the price. But the deeper truth was darker. The fact that rivals kept doing it anyway proved that children were viewed as legitimate targets regardless of the consequences. In the streets, the pattern turns lethal. Jacksonville, Florida's ATK versus KTA rivalries involving rappers like Yunin Ace and the late Julio Filio produced shootings where family members of rappers were injured or killed. Beefs that blurred the line between rivalry and gang warfare, where anyone in proximity became a potential target. In Stockton, California, rappers' children's birthday parties have been shot up amid ongoing crew feuds, endangering kids who had nothing to do with their parents' conflicts. These incidents represent the extreme end of a spectrum that begins with social media insults and diss track lyrics, but terminates in real-world violence against the most vulnerable people connected to the combatants. This is the context in which footage of Nathan Murray Smith, DJ Young Slade, now circulates. Not because he is a victim of any beef, not because any rival targeted him, not because there is any evidence whatsoever of foul play in his disappearance. Police have been clear this is a welfare concern. But the footage is being called chilling because we live in a culture where the children of rappers carry inherited risk simply by existing. Where a previously innocent interview clip of a young man describing his father as just dad becomes something haunting the moment that young man goes missing. Lil Jon's own beefs with Pastor Troy, with the Enyong twins, with former East Side Boys members, with the various competitors and claimants from Atlanta's crunk era were never the kind of conflicts that produced violence or threats against families. Pastor Troy vented on Murder Man 2 and in interviews, and Lil Jon never responded. The Enyong twins expressed frustration about money and credit, and the relationship simply cooled. These were professional disputes, label politics, the ordinary friction of an intensely competitive scene. But the precedent set by Nicki and Cardi, by Drake and Kendrick, by Push A's revelation of Adonis, by every rival who ever mentioned Haley Jade. That precedent means that when a rapper's child makes news for any reason, the immediate cultural reflex is to search for the enemy responsible. The Boss Talk TV host, in the final moments of his broadcast about Nathan's disappearance, delivered a message that transcended the specifics of this case. That is the real takeaway from this story. Not the beefs, not the rivalries, not the speculation. The real story is about a father who cannot find his son, a young man who walked out of his home on a February morning and has not been heard from since. A family begging for prayers and privacy, while the internet mines their pain for content. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.